Greetings and welcome to one more edition of Moments with God. We're going to continue talking about the essence, the true essence of the Christian life, the true essence of what it means to be a Christian. And we're going to see that when you have Jesus, you have everything. And that's what we're going to focus on today. But before, let me make an announcement. Okay, this is my book that's in the Portuguese language. It's now available online in the Kindle store in both Portuguese and in English. So if you go into Kindle, I think you call it kindlestore.com or something like that, look for my name, Robert Cavagnaro, and look for the English version if you want it in English. It's called The Voice of Your Destiny in English. It's also in Portuguese for those who speak Portuguese, A Voz do Seu Destino. And you can get it. There's many voices out there competing for your attention. The voice that you hear determines your destiny. But let's get back on with our study. The essence of the true Christian life. Last week, we saw that many people try to define Christianity as believing all the right things. Others try to define it as doing all the right things. You do all the right things, you're a true Christian. Still others define Christianity as saying all the right thing. If you have the right jargon, the right words, everything like that, then that's the essence. But I determined last week that the essence of the true Christian life is having the right thing. 1 John 5:12. He who has the Son has life. The word life comes from the Greek zoe. It's the fullness of God's life living inside of you and through you. When you have Jesus, you have the right thing. What's unfortunate in these days is many times you can go to a church service, and I don't say this to be critical, just pay attention the next time you go to church. Listen to the praise and worship service. How many times do you hear the praise and worship leader say the name Jesus? And how many times do you hear that name in the hymns that you sing? Sometimes you might go a whole service without hearing the name Jesus. And as you continue, the pastor will give a message. And many times the message won't even mention the name Jesus. Again, I don't say this for you to be looking out to be critical. Just to show a tendency to put Jesus in the shadows. And when Jesus is in the shadows, you've lost the essence. He needs to be the focal point. He needs to be our focus. Don't let Jesus get lost in the shadows of your life, of your ministry, of your church programs. Let him be focused. The first one that we focus on always. He who has the Son has life. When you have Jesus, you have everything. And I'm remembering an illustration I received one time in a preaching I listened to Jack Hayford. And he talked about a very wealthy widow man. He was a widower, very wealthy. He had priceless works of art on his walls. Van Gogh, Michelangelo, all the priceless, worth a fortune. He had priceless vehicles, Rolls Royce, Cadillacs, everything. And his estate was worth a fortune. This wealthy widower had an only son. And this son enlisted in the armed forces and went off to war. And you guess what happened? That father received the worst news any parent could ever receive. His son was fighting valiantly for freedom and was killed in battle. He went through extreme grief, for that son was the only family that he had left. A few weeks after his death, some of his fellow soldiers came knocking at the door of the wealthy widower and said, well, excuse me for intruding here, but your son was valiant I'm here today because he saved my life in that battle. And he was a valiant, and I do works of art, caricatures, and I want to just present you this caricature that I made of your son. And I know that you're a man of fine art, but I think I captured the nobility of his facial features. And the man looked at it, and he captured some amazing features of nobility, and he thanked him very much. And they went off. And that man took that caricature, and he gave it the title, My Son. He put it in a great molding, kind of like this that I have behind me. A beautiful molding, and he put that caricature called My Son in the most noble position on his wall, right in the midst of all the Van Goghs and Michelangelos and all those other great artists that are out there. And then the years went by, and he became very ill. And he wrote his will. And he separated into 2 envelopes. And he talked to his estate lawyer. He says, this is the way I want to auction off all of my estate. I don't have any family to pass it on to, so it's going to be auctioned and given to charity. So the news got out about this auction of this great estate. And people came from all over the world to put their bid in on the Van Goghs and the Michelangelos and the estate and the vehicles that he had. Everything was worth a fortune. And the estate lawyer said, I've been given very specific instructions that are in these 2 envelopes. The first envelope, he opened it up, and the estate lawyer said, by the will of the estate owner, the first piece that we're going to auction off is My Son. And he got that molding with the caricature of My Son. And the reaction were groans everywhere. My son, what's this? A caricature? We're not here for a cheap piece of art. We want the Van Goghs and the Michelangelos and the cars and everything else in this estate. He said, do I hear $25 for My Son? Nothing. Nobody bid until the gardener of the estate raised his hand and said, hey, I knew the estate owner. I knew his son. Great people. And I don't have much money. I'm just the gardener, but I bid $25 for My Son. So going once, going twice, sold to the gardener for $25. And he took that caricature, My Son. I think the molding was even worth more. The picture frame was worth more than the actual caricature. And then the estate lawyer opened up the second envelope, took a look. Surprised, he said, this auction is over. And people that came from miles away said, it's over? What do you mean it's over? You haven't auctioned off the Van Goghs and the Michelangelos and not even the house or the cars. What do you mean it's over? He says, by the will of the estate owner, he said, the one who stays with My Son will get everything. Think about it. That gardener that purchased it for $25, My Son, he got to keep the whole estate, all that priceless art, the house, the cars, because he who has the Son has everything. And that's the essence, the true essence of the Christian life. He who has Jesus has everything. Next week, we'll talk a little bit more of what it means to have this essence inside of us. In the meantime, have a great week, and don't forget to go on to Kindle Books and later on Create Space, and you can get my book in English, The Voice of Your Destiny, or in Portuguese, A Voz do Seu Destino. God bless you, and don't forget, don't let Jesus be in the shadows of your life.